Hi, welcome to WisdomTree Solutions. Now we'll talk about the second module of NLP Master Practitioner programs offered by WisdomTree Solutions. Again, I'll not get into the conversation about why second, is this second or the first. The order is as per your choice. I call it second because mostly when we run the Master Practitioner program, this is the second module. This is the Advanced Practitioner module. As the name suggests, it goes deeper into what you learn as practitioner. Advanced practitioner really goes in depth of language. In other words, I could have called it language mastery, but it is far beyond the language mastery program. It is like turning into a maverick with language. It is just like using a statement to make a subtle shift in someone's thinking. It is that powerful. So I'll talk about the content of this advanced practitioner program, which will help you understand the learning value of the advanced practitioner. Again, everything is as practical, on-ground, applied psychology based. It is full of techniques, and these are not the kind of techniques that you learned at the practitioner level. These are subtle, simple techniques that will take possibly 3-4 minutes, and then you're talking to someone, maybe a statement that you'd make to someone, and then the person would go, oh, okay, right. I now think differently, something like that. So NLP Advanced Practitioner program starts with a very interesting shift. You would remember in practitioner program, we spoke of setting goals, right? Now the master practitioner, of course, will get more intensive. So we move from goals to vision. We'll start the program about how to create the vision. And that is an amazing shift, because once you have the vision, you get flexibility in your goals. Goals start making sense. A lot of times when I'm working with people, and it's very common for people to come up with money, right? And when they are working with money, and the only thing that occupies their mind is money, eventually when they start defining their vision, they realize that it's not about money. Money is just one of the factors that is making something else more important, because that's the kind of condition they believed it to be, right? So vision brings a lot of clarity in people's life, and vision would create many opportunities, many possibilities. It would also help you define your goals better and make more effective goals, right? So we learn about vision. Then another very interesting shift, and that I have spoken of during the Master Practitioner introduction as well. And during practitioner also, sometimes I talk about it. If you notice, practitioner is all about WAKOG, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory, the sensory system, the way we perceive the world, right? You would even find the presuppositions of practitioner are mostly about the perception. People are map maker, respect other person's map the world. Master practitioner moves from the perception of reality to construction of reality, how we construct reality in our mind. And you may not realize as yet, when you come for the program, you would realize it's a huge shift. It's a huge shift, because people not perceive, but they construct in their mind before they perceive. Again, slightly intriguing concept, which we'll talk about in the advanced practitioner program. So we'll move from the perception to construction. Construction, as in case of perception, you have WAKOG. In construction, we have STEM, space, time, energy, and matter. And that's what the reality is made of. We'll talk about the map of the world eventually. And this will be a different take, because now we are talking about the STEM, space, time, energy, and matter, and how it affects the perception. So your view of that you created in the practitioner would also go through a minor shift, and that'll be an interesting shift. We'll talk about the focus, internal and external focus, and we'll also teach you how to be in control of your focus, right? It is not same as locus of control. Many times people get confused. So this difference also you would understand in the advanced practitioner program. It's about your own focus. Is it internal and external, and how you can be in charge of your focus to be more attentive, to be more productive, and to be in better control of your states. We'll talk about the states. We'll talk about the powerful states, the resource states. We'll talk about how to change the state. We'll talk about physiology and state connection in a different aspect. We'll also talk about how being in charge of your focus, internal and external focus, and state, you can literally enhance the listening quality. Because as a coach, that is important. In fact, why talk of only coach? As a human being, your ability to listen well, not hear, but listen well, is amazingly important. Advanced practitioner, I talk about the uptime. Uptime is when you can repeat whatever is spoken by the client, remembering each and every word spoken, and the tonality and possibly the physiology, right? So that is the kind of quality that we are talking about in terms of listening. We have a retake on NLP presuppositions because we have now moved from the perception to construction. So new set of NLP presuppositions will come into the picture. We would learn an amazing, powerful technique that was proposed by Craig McDermott. I have used this technique to an amazing effect. One single session, how you can completely change the relationships, right? So it is called waking out of trances. Beautiful, powerful technique. We'll talk about it. It utilizes the concepts covered till now, right? We'll also talk about the feedback, different forms of feedback. We have spoken of feedback earlier. Now we'll get into detail because that's one of the key competencies as a coach. Not many people teach you that. In fact, I have had people qualified as a coach, and they shared that they were never aware of the different ways of giving feedback and their efficacy in different situations. So we'll talk about the process of feedback. Then, as I said earlier, advanced practitioner. So we'll get into advanced submodalities. All right. Oh, okay. Before submodality, advanced sensory acuity. So we'll get into the advanced sensory acuity. We'll look at certain aspects that go beyond what you learned at the practitioner. Practitioner sensory acuity was more simpler. We spoke of intricate concepts like skin color change and all. Yet we focused more on before the intervention and after the intervention, physiological shift. That was the main focus. We spoke of the sensing boundary data and calibration. We go deeper now. We get involved in finer aspects of seeing people. We will talk about micro expressions. We'll talk about facial expressions and how one can really make note of them and learn from them, right? And of course, what you learned at the practitioner also applies. So we'll talk about those shifts. We'll talk about advanced repo. And this advanced repo utilizes the same techniques as in the practitioner. It only refines them a little more. So we get into the energy work, how the energy flows when you're in repo. So this is a higher level of awareness and building a connection. We talk about how you can create rapport and with the large group. And if someone has come to you in a highly negative state, right? We would teach you the process of validation, art of validation. And it's an amazing technique. It helps you connect with anyone and everyone, right? People simply open up and share with you a whole lot of things that they may not have shared with anyone else. So art of validation we learn as part of the rapport building technique. Then we learn the core of NLP, as I have mentioned earlier, what all NLP techniques are made of, because now is the time you are moving towards the shift. So you would be creating techniques of your own. So understanding how the techniques work, how NLP really works. So in the core, there is one simple technique. Once you get the hang of that technique, then you can create things of your own, right? So we'll get into the core of NLP, what NLP core is made of. how the techniques, what is the structure of the techniques that we make use of. And then we move into the real interesting stuff. The heart of advanced NLP practitioner is quantum linguistics. Quantum linguistics is all about how the construction really works, and it gives you a metaphysical view of reality. It does challenge people, your thinking. It may make you think about, oh, is that what it's been, right? Because when you look at a different view of things, you really get intrigued by how you have been thinking till now. So we get into the metaphysical aspect of reality, how the reality operates, and then we start the language mastery. So one of the things that you would talk about is directionalized language. How using language you can make people think in a particular way, in a particular direction. Right? We'll talk about how the experience gets created. We'll talk about how the patterns get created. We'll talk about a different paradigm shift, a complete paradigm shift into a new thinking process. So most of the time when you get clients, when you are talking to people, because they are thinking in a particular way. And as you introduce the paradigm shift, as you become aware of paradigm shifts yourself, you realize how the things really work, right? I was talking to someone some time back, and we were talking about pain. Right from the childhood, we have been told to control our emotions, right? Control our responses. So we become habitual of suppressing everything that we receive. The new paradigm is acknowledging it and releasing it, thereby liberating you, right? Everything happens with you, including pain, happens to you for a reason. Ignoring it, suppressing it, or denying it would never resolve it. It'll keep coming back to you again and again, till the time you say, okay, right, I see you. What is the purpose you're here for? And once you ask that question, you would start seeing the changes, right? So that's the new paradigm of intervention that you learn in the advanced practitioner. Then we get into a whole lot of quantum linguistic techniques, which is like 2-3 minute models of language patterns. We'll talk about the chaining of model operators. Chaining model operator, you might relate with utilization that you learned in Milton model, you learned in the practitioner. We talk about things like decision destroyer, time scrambler. We talk about Cartesian logic. You might remember a bit of it from the practitioner. If you don't, doesn't matter. I'll teach you all over again. So Cartesian logic, how you can use Cartesian logic to make someone think in a different direction. We'll talk about de-identification pattern. We talk about meta model 3. We talk about linguistic resourcing. All right, these are all techniques. Right? I'm giving the name of the techniques, and then they apply in different scenarios. We talk about embedded commands. We talk about logical levels of therapy. All right, and so this is a very funny and interesting model. So these are some of the quantum linguistic models that you would learn, practice, and realize how powerful they can be and how easy it is to make someone think differently. They somewhere touch upon the provocative therapy models that you might remember from the practitioner program. I told you I never teach provocative therapy in the practitioner. In the master practitioner, yes, of course, you get introduced to all of these techniques we cover in the advanced practitioner. Then we talk about one of the very powerful linguistic technique, and it's called prime concern elicitation resolution. And a lot of times when you're working people, they have a behavioral pattern. And this apparently may not really make sense, but then they are doing variety of things. All of these patterns come out of one thing, right? And that is what the prime concern is. So you would learn how to elicit a prime concern in someone and how you can resolve the prime concern, how you can break that connection. It's a very intricate and very powerful system of, again, jumbling up the neurons in your head like phobia cure. And you jumble up the neurons, and suddenly the person says, "Oh, that's really never the issue," and you start seeing the shift in things that they did. And again, prime concern elicitation and resolution is start of the process, followed by quite a few minor intervention wherein you start putting things back in order, right? Start giving them better strategies, better beliefs, and a way to do things so that they'll get the desired results. So prime concern elicitation and resolution is a very powerful quantum linguistic model. We go into the hierarchy of ideas. Again, you would remember jumping up and down, and this time we get a look into the negotiation and mediation process. Some amazingly powerful technique, because when you're working with people, this is what you would do. Like you're working in a relationship, you're doing mediation, right, of sorts. And it is amazing when you find those people come together and then find a way to live together, be together, right? So hierarchy of ideas, a relook into hierarchy of ideas, the next level of it. Then we get into the multi-model, a little more practice, a little more awareness, some more clarity into techniques. We get into the advanced metaphors, looking at how you can make metaphors even better, how you can put 2 or 3 metaphors together to create the impact. If you have been watching my videos on Crazy Vibes or Making Sense series that I've recently started, you would find me using multiple metaphors in one conversation. In training also, I do that. That is what I'm going to teach you. I'll give you all my secrets here. We'll talk about parts integration, how you can resolve an internal conflict using parts integration. We'll talk about advanced perceptual positions, basic perceptual position we learned in the practitioner. We'll get into the level 2 of it. We also look at the level 1 because level 1 many times clarity may not yet come in unless you've used it a few times. So we look at the basic and perceptual position and the advanced one. We then get into the advanced modalities, right? Now, basics of modalities we have already covered in the practitioner module, and I'm sure you remember the concept, doing the slight shift and so on and so forth. In advanced modalities, we learn some amazingly powerful practice. We talk about compulsion blowouts, right? We talk about belief change. You see, limiting belief, how you can change. Practitioner, I spoke of belief change. This time you would learn how to do it. And I recommend practicing like dislike a couple of times, because that's what we would use multiple times in the Master Practitioner program. And then we'll also learn of the allergy model. NLP allergy model also is very powerful and popular. A lot of people use it. I have effectively used it with people allergic of dust. I used it on myself initially and got amazing results. And I've used it with some other people and amazing shifts. It works on the health component as well. So we'll talk about the allergy model, where and how to use it, where not to use it, all those aspects. Then we'll talk about the advanced anchoring. We'll primarily focus on the switch in anchoring and the chain anchor process. We'll have a relook into different anchoring types. And then we'll talk about an amazing, powerful technique of slide of mouth created by Robert Dilts, based on Richard Bandler. And this will give you an amazing way of winning an argument, any argument whatsoever. And you can propose a statement, you can make a statement, and the person will go spinning in his head. So it is also the popular spin technique. If you master this technique, you are needed in political circles and advertising and marketing industry like anything. So slide of mouth we'll talk about in advanced practitioner, we'll talk about strategies. Another aspect of it, strategies basic we cover in the life coach. Here we introduce strategies because sometimes people come and then do this as their first model. Then we talk about the elicitation aspect because you would use strategies in modeling. So that's the next topic in NLP Advanced Practitioner, the modeling. And it is towards the end of the session. So you utilize all the skills you learned in this module plus the life coach module, and a comprehensive model can be created by eliciting the strategies, beliefs, values, and the patterns that they have created in their head. So that's about the advanced practitioner. Looking forward to you being part of it. Looking forward to you being part of the Master Practitioner program to get the Master Practitioner Certification and Advanced NLP Life Coach Certification. Thank you. Bye-bye.